And finally, it's time for another Control speed paint. This time, our cast members are Gill and Cirque. These two are sort of a comedic duo in the cast, bouncing their chaotic energy off each other both on and off the battlefield. Their senses of humor are both varied and with a nerdy core that branches in differing directions. As such, combined with the heritages of both characters, my ideal voice actor choices for them would be Dan Avidan and Aaron Hansen. So, how about we approach these two one at a time? Gill is the youngest member of the main cast, a bit too gung-ho about using his powers, to the point he's actually very rarely seen in his dormant form as displayed here. He prefers his unleashed form to such an intense degree that he even frequently sleeps when transformed. He doesn't quite like being so short and scrawny in his dormant form, but otherwise he has no real problems with his original body. He just has a bit of an obsession with the form his unleashed state took. He's always been deeply into dragons, of all kinds, and getting to be one, or at least a very close anthropomorphic facsimile of one, is a dream come true for him. As such, don't expect to read about him being in the form you see here very often. His heritage is something not seen too commonly, but based largely on a good friend of mine who will probably be losing his shit over this upload, and be seen in the comments, pinned the moment he gets to it. He's half black, half Ashkenazi Jewish. He's not too strict about his people's teachings, more of the modern type where he'll participate in all holidays, knows the scripture well enough, but he doesn't have any problems with pork, nor will he frequently visit synagogues. It's difficult to balance active religious practice with being a massive nerd, anyway. He's such a nerd that he makes comments about D&D and various fighting games in the middle of combat. Favorites including assigning classes and party roles to everyone in the main cast, and at one point saying, "Hey Cirque, look, I can dual-wield people." Obviously, Gill is just a nickname. His birth name is C.O.N.T.R.O.L, but when the breach went down and he mutated, he took to living a bit of a fantasy, using the name of a character he'd been writing for years. Although he won't admit it, it's partially because it distances him from his family, and makes it easier to not spend his days worrying about their whereabouts after the breach. His weapons displayed here are a wonderful pair of khopesh he collects during the first book of Control, and you might guess from the texture, though I couldn't accurately render it without a resolution that would set my PC ablaze, that they're made from Damascus steel. The slight blue and violet tint is due to a light amount of bismuth blended in, and although that would normally make a weaker blade, as a Genesis conductor, it becomes potentially far stronger in the hands of an Unleashed. I admittedly chose khopesh for a mix of eclectic reasons, but at its core, it works well with his grand, sweeping fighting style that disguises more underhanded and subtle moves, and attempts to corner and pin foes, as well as being a Middle Eastern blade wielded by a dragon with features representing both European and Asiatic origins, something in a middle ground that even suits his heritage. Then, to Gill's left, we have Cirque, a towering hulk of a man who looks like he hasn't lost an ounce of weight since the breach. On that, anyone would be incredibly wrong. He was actually much more heavy-set and largely lacking in muscle before the breach, morbidly obese and in the throes of a deep depression. Then the breach occurred, and his outlook on life drastically changed. Despite the chaos, he began to see the beauty of the world again, in how people would band together in these horrible conditions, finding a sense of camaraderie he thought the world had lost. In the darkest of times, it's easier to see the small lights that make things worth fighting for. The laughter of children, the birth of new life, the clear, unpolluted skies of a world without city lights and rampant factories. He embraced it all, and swore to fight for it with everything he had. And fight he did. A lot. He became a powerhouse with an incredible unleashed stamina, which helped him to work off that weight and gain a physique one could label as dieting sumo wrestler, but with limbs turned into thick trunks of muscle, and prepared to tank or obliterate anything with his bare hands. He became his community's guardian, an impenetrable walking wall that could dish out even more than he took. Regarding family, you'll never really hear much about it from him. He's of the opinion that the people he chooses are his family, but there's always a notable twinge of sorrow when he says so. It's much the same anytime someone asks for his full name. He won't speak of his losses, but suffice to say, they helped to turn him into the unerring friend he's become now. If he ever finds someone or something he can trust or believe in, he'll fight to his last breath to protect it. But one can't help but wonder if that guilt he hides is the true core of his motivations. But he's always too good at hiding that behind an eclectic sense of humor that ranges from the deepest of blues to white collar and all the way down to the darkest depths. While taunting a single foe, he'll start off with presenting his shockingly wide vocabulary in the process of punning about their powers. Then 2 minutes later, he'll respond to their threats with either, "Try it, I might enjoy it," or something to the caliber of, "Your mom sucked me real good through my jorts." Due to this, a lot of his opponents just want him to shut the fuck up. But any battle with Cirque is a war of attrition, and he has the stamina and durability to go for hours. So good luck not wanting to flog yourself with your own brainstem by the end of it. When it comes to this duo, there's very little to say but either get some popcorn or run for the hills. If it's a domestic setting, they'll just make idiots and intellectuals alike have aneurysms. And on the battlefield together, they'll play off each other's strategies and strengths to make a whirlwind of bodies and shatter the earth. You can expect them to be paired up on tasks frequently for this cohesion and combat synergy, being the Control Militia's go-to answer for either needing a good distraction or just wanting to obliterate a target area or enemy attack force as indiscriminately as possible. So, here's the finished product. Gyl and Serk and Leslie Serk Ruprecht. I hope you guys enjoy them as much as I do, and look forward to the absurdity that surrounds them in Control Ubiquity of Chaos whenever I finish and release the final edition. It'll be a while before you see their unleashed forms, but I'll give you all a quick peek at what to expect here before I go. So, this is Envoy of Kairos, signing out, and I'll see you all again in 2 weeks for a fandom Speedpaint, in which I'll return to my original Digimon concepts with the first 2 adult-level forms of Manekomon. Later, guys. Hey, thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, then be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're looking to support me a little further, maybe get some bonus content or just keep up with me and other fans, you can find links down in the description leading to my Patreon, my Discord, and my Twitter. And if you're following me on Patreon, then you can expect some content polls to decide what's coming up on the channel, yet a little bit of background additions to some other series I've been working on, some more original and creative stuff. And who knows, if enough of you start supporting me soon, I might have a few other surprises up my sleeve too. Again, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you all again on the next video.